Last episode, we found out about the origin of the builders and how the original Pekka was created. But there are still two more versions of the Pekka that are still unanswered for. So this is going to be the story of how the Mini Pekka and Super Pekka were brought into this world of Clash. And in case you missed the last episode, here is a very quick recap. Bill and Dirk were both dwarves added to the game. However, they both did not know how to fight. So to please the village chief, they both tried to create something that could really impress the chief. Bill created what is now known as the Pekka, and Dirk created what is now known as the Crusher. The chief was extremely disappointed in Dirk's creation that he exiled him off the island, and Bill ended up becoming the village's official builder. However, after years of working for the cruel chief, he started to regret making the choice to become the village's builder. And now for the continuation. Welcome back. So even though the builder didn't like his job in the village, he decided to put up with it for the time being. But the thing that really got him through this was the fact that he learned how to clone himself and create 4 other builders. But we'll explain that in another story. As the years went on, he continued to do the same old job day in and day out. However, about 5 years later, he finally reached his boiling point. But first, let's head over to where the other builder, Dirk, was exiled. After almost 4.5 years, Dirk finally woke up from his extremely long slumber and realized that he was on some mysterious island. Even though he was sleeping for almost 5 years, he still clearly remembered how his brother showed him up and created some super cool new mechanical robot called a Pekka. Even though Dirk was super impressed with his creation, he also felt super betrayed that he got exiled, whereas Bill, his brother, got to stay back in the main village. So Dirk promised himself that one day he will return to the village with the biggest and best creation the village has ever seen in their lives. But the only problem was that he still had to create this new super creation. He still didn't even know what he wanted to make. So first, he decided to make his house. He got to work and finished his first building, the Builder Hall. And once he was done creating that, he decided to create a laboratory as well, that he would use to create his new creation. However, after a few days, and even weeks, his mind was still blank, and he had no good ideas. But then one day, he had a flashback to when he got exiled. He remembered seeing his brother's creation, and how magnificent it looked. However, he felt that there was something missing to it. So then it hit him. I'll just create a bigger and better version of the Pekka. So he quickly got to work gathering all the resources he could find, and he worked hours on end. He worked many days without even sleeping, so determined to finish his project. And then about 14 days later, he added the finishing touches to his creation. And then he went outside to await and see what the final product looked like. Then, out of the smoke emerged Dirk's version of the Pekka. When it got out of the building collapsed behind him. This new creation was a powerhouse. 5 seconds after being born, he already destroyed a full building. Dirk could not have been happier. But then once the smoke settled down, a tiny blue metal robot came running out. This was no Mega Pekka. This was just a tiny little Mini Pekka. Dirk's smile faded. He was no longer proud of himself. All he felt was a shameful feeling in his stomach. He was so ashamed of his Mini Pekka, and then weird enough, another Mini Pekka came running out of the rubble. There were 2 Mini Pekkas standing in front of Dirk, and then Dirk realized what must have happened. He had added enough materials to create a full-size Pekka, but the laboratory's machinery must have had insignificant energy to combine them all. So instead of making one full-size Pekka, it split them up into 2 Mini Pekkas. Dirk was unsure of what to do, since he had no other way of getting more energy sources, and besides, the Mini Pekka destroyed all of his equipment and his house. So he had nothing left, and all the trees in the forest were going to take years to grow back. So he decided to take his boat to a nearby village and hope for the best. When he got to a nearby island, the first thing that popped out at him was a giant arena where he could hear a roaring crowd inside. There was some sort of battle going on between 2 separate sides, the blue team and the red team. Dirk sat and watched the first match, and after the match was over, he confronted the king and asked him if he could spare any resources to build a new house and possibly supply any extra energy. The king replied asking what happened to his old home, and Dirk told him what had happened, how the Mini Pekka destroyed his house and now they were homeless, and how he has no materials left to build a new house. The king, who was actually impressed by this, offered Dirk a deal. He said,
I'll tell you what, I will give you all of your necessary resources that you need for your house, and then I'll even triple that, and give you even more for any future projects you might have in mind. However, I do not have anything that can help you with your shortage of energy. and all I want in return is one of your mini Pekkas. If that thing can destroy buildings as easily as you say, then I think it can help us win way more battles.
Dirk thought about it for a second, and then realized that he has too many Pekkas, so why not just give up one? Besides, one destroyed his house, so he didn't really want to be around him anyways. So Dirk and the king made their trade. And then Dirk went back to his island, and the king became an unstoppable force with a new Mini Pekka. Once Dirk got back to his island, he quickly rebuilt his house and started working on some new plans for his Pekka 2.0. Once again, he worked for weeks on end, but he still could not think of any solution to prevent the machine from making 2 Mini Pekkas instead of 1 Super Pekka. He was about to lose hope, but then one day a broken ship washed ashore. Unfortunately, a wizard and hog rider had both turned to elixir, and what was left was the hog rider's hammer and the wizard's cloak. Dirk picked up the hammer and the cloak, and inside of the cloak was a bottle of blue liquid in it. The liquid was buzzing with electricity, and Dirk thought that this must have been the lightning spell. So he took it back to his lab, brought the Mini Pekka in with him, and this time added the whole bottle of lightning to the mix. He turned the machine on and stepped out again. The machine started to shake and smoke again, before finally coming to a stop. This time the building exploded from the inside as a gigantic Pekka stepped out. This Pekka fused with the lightning spell and was just radiating energy. And when he stepped outside, Dirk's mouth hung open, and he quietly whispered to himself, "It's a Super Pekka."